Over the weekend, Musk announced he would be forming a new political party called the America Party. He says the America Party would caucus independently from either Republicans or Democrats, making them the deciding vote, in his words, on all matters that divide the two parties. Okay. And in characteristic Musk fashion, he's already bragging about just how easy this will all be, tweeting that breaking the two-party system is not hard, TBH. But new reporting about this nascent effort confirms what you have probably already guessed. Elon Musk has no idea what he's doing at all. I mean, here's how the New York Times described it. Quote, as with many of his tweet-length proclamations, Mr. Musk's plans for the new party are opaque. His private conversations about it so far have been conceptual and not focused on the details of what it would take to bring it to fruition, according to two people briefed on those talks. Mr. Musk's team has not yet taken many operational steps to stand up the party, and he has ingested feedback about the effort, including what the party's logo should look like, from Grok, his company's artificial intelligence chatbot. Elon Musk had to ask his AI chatbot how to start his third party. You can't make it up.
Donald Trump's administration is cruel. It is incompetent. It is evil. But really, it's just embarrassing. It is embarrassing to have Donald Trump represent our country with his pudding brain on the world stage. And that is exactly what we saw today in a conference with African leaders in which Donald Trump humiliated himself so badly that the leader of Liberia quite literally laughed at the idiotic comment that he had made, showing just how stupid Donald Trump is. Something we know, but he likes to continue to prove out. We're going to get into it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into the comment that Trump made that had him laughed at to his face, we got to start where this began, the conference, with a couple of questions. The first coming right here.
On one other subject, two Democratic senators now, Cory Booker and Alex Padilla, have a new bill out. They want to require CBP and ICE officers to have legible IDs, and they don't want CBP or ICE officers covering their faces. Would you ever sign that?
Well, they wouldn't be saying that if they didn't hate our country, and they obviously do. I'm surprised that they would do it, knowing a little bit about them. I don't know them well, but these officers are doing a tremendous job. They're great patriots. If you expose them because of, statements like have been made by Democrats and others on the left, usually, mostly, I think probably exclusively, you put them in great danger, tremendous danger. And it's sort of funny when people picket in front of Columbia, in front of Harvard, and they have masks on, more than masks. I mean, you can't see anything. Nobody complains about that. But when a patriot who works for ICE or Border Patrol puts a mask on so that they won't recognize him and his family, so they can lead a little bit of a normal life after having worked so hard and so dangerously, there's a problem with that. So they have this is the problem with the Democrats. They have a lot of bad things going on in their heads. They've really become they've lost their confidence, number one, and they've become somewhat deranged. I want to do whatever's necessary to protect our great law enforcement people, and they are right at the top of the list.
Donald Trump, who during the protests that he sicked his goons on in LA was tweeting that anyone wearing a mask should be arrested, now comes out against ICE officers having to ID themselves, which should just be the law. It is the law. You have to ID yourself. You have to say who you are. What is scariest about this somehow isn't even the fact that these ICE agents, these thugs, are kidnapping people off the street, but because they don't identify themselves and because people live in such fear in certain communities across the country, there are fake ICE agents out there. There are pretend people are cosplaying. People are actually snatching people off the street, pretending that they're ICE agents, and no one knows. Because what's the difference between one masked person who won't tell you who they are and another masked person who won't tell you who they are? Donald Trump is making our country more dangerous because of the thugs he is sending out to intimidate. And that is no surprise, because all Donald Trump wants to do is pretend he's tough when in fact the opposite is true. And that's exactly what we saw when he was confronted about Ukraine.
Sir, yesterday you said that you were not sure who ordered the munitions halted to Ukraine. Have you since been able to figure that out?
Well, I haven't thought about it because we're looking at Ukraine right now and munitions, but I have not gone into it.
What does it say that such a big decision could be made inside your government without you knowing?
I would know. If a decision was made, I will know. I'll be the first to know. In fact, most likely I'd give the order, but I haven't done that yet. Yeah, please.
This is not a tough guy administration. And I think it's important to point out that Pete Hegseth deliberately went behind Donald Trump's back in pausing these shipments of weapons and munition to Ukraine. He did that because he just thought he could, because he knows Donald Trump is so out of it and cares so little and is so confused. Generally, we saw in that cabinet meeting yesterday, Donald Trump is like cheating off Pete Eggs' answers, like moving the mic over and whispering questions to him to appear smarter when he got the answer that he didn't know. Basic questions, by the way. But Pete Eggs did that because he knows he can maneuver around Trump, that Trump isn't really running the show. Sure, he has amassed more power in the executive than any other president in history and plans to continue acting like a dictator, but everyone is kind of pulling the strings of the pudding reign president. And that is incredibly terrifying, especially as Donald Trump continues to show how idiotic he is. But like this, just take a listen.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated? Where?
Yes, sir.
In Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's very interesting. It's beautiful English.
Sure.
I have people at this table can't speak nearly as well,
Very
and
good, sir.
they come from.
Donald Trump questioned the leader of Liberia's ability to speak English, although the country's official language is English. What are we doing anymore? And also, let's be real. The subtle racist undertones there are so clear. Donald Trump's like, wow, I'm surprised that you can speak coherently. It's gross. But does he know anything? Does he get briefed? Remember when that story came out about how Tulsi Gabbard was considering making all of Donald Trump's security briefings like a Fox News fireworks show with some animations and some razzmatazz? He clearly doesn't get that when he meets with world leaders. He knows very little about these people. Remember when they were showing the fake footage of South Africa? It's not a surprise. He doesn't know anything, or he feigns ignorance. He pretends that he doesn't to get himself out of the atrocities he's committing, like we saw right here.
President Trump, James Comey and John Brennan now under criminal investigation related to the Trump-Russia probe. Do you want to see these two guys behind bars?
Well, I know nothing about it other than what I read today, but I will tell you, I think they're very dishonest people. I think they're crooked as hell, and maybe they have to pay a price for that. I believe they are truly bad people and dishonest people.
So there are two different lanes that we can assume from Donald Trump's response to an investigation into Comey. The first is, of course, he spurred this on. It's what he wants. He wants to attack someone he views as his enemy. Very, very plausible. The second is what I call the Kash Patel effect. In Donald Trump's first administration, Kash Patel would go out of his way to try to impress Mr. Trump, right? He would try to take steps to make sure even before Trump asked for something, he was doing it right. He wasn't serving the American people, not doing his job in the administration. He was trying to serve Mr. Trump. We love you, Mr. Trump. So either Trump is sick as goons on Comey, or they're just doing it to appease the president's petulant whims, which is probably more terrifying to have a government operating around guessing what Donald Trump might want for his political enemies. That's very scary, very frightening, and it has some very serious implications for someone who is now not just Donald Trump's enemy in the public, but technically politically with his new third party and Elon Musk. But I think he's about to learn some lessons about how difficult that's going to be.
Over the weekend, Musk announced he would be forming a new political party called the America Party. He says the America Party would caucus independently from either Republicans or Democrats, making them the deciding vote, in his words, on all matters that divide the two parties. Okay. And in characteristic Musk fashion, he's already bragging about just how easy this will all be, tweeting that breaking the two-party system is not hard, TBH. But new reporting about this nascent effort confirms what you have probably already guessed. Elon Musk has no idea what he's doing at all. I mean, here's how the New York Times described it. Quote, as with many of his tweet-length proclamations, Mr. Musk's plans for the new party are opaque. His private conversations about it so far have been conceptual and not focused on the details of what it would take to bring it to fruition, according to two people briefed on those talks. Mr. Musk's team has not yet taken many operational steps to stand up the party, and he has ingested feedback about the effort, including what the party's logo should look like, from Grok, his company's artificial intelligence chatbot. Elon Musk had to ask his AI chatbot how to start his third party. You can't make it up. Now, as a side note, that's the same AI chatbot that went rogue today and started spewing anti-Semitic hate while calling itself Mecha Hitler. Yes, that also really happened today. The truth is that there are a lot of barriers to building a new political party in this country, a lot. I mean, for starters, every state has its own unique laws for how to get on the ballot. As election law expert Rick Hassan points out, the state of New York, for example, expressly prohibits a political party from having American or part of that name in a party title, which seems like a huge problem right out of the gate for Elon Musk's America Party, as he calls it. But the biggest impediment to Musk's idea is the American political system itself. I mean, America has what's called a past-the-post elections. Sorry, that's a tongue twister system, meaning whichever party gets the most votes wins. And whenever a third party enters the picture, they inevitably become a spoiler for the major party that most closely aligns with their views, like, say, Ralph Nader in 2000 or Jill Stein in 2016. Elon Musk just spent the last 6 months taking a hatchet to the federal government and making an enemy of Democratic voters basically everywhere. So it's really hard to see how a new political party born of that legacy would attract any left-leaning voters to his cause. Musk has cited his own unscientific X poll that found 80% of respondents want to see a new party. But actual polling finds that 80% of voters in both parties think rich donors like Elon Musk have too much influence in politics. They don't need more, which may be part of why Musk himself is viewed negatively by a majority of Americans. And Musk's forays into politics in places like Wisconsin, there he is in a cheesehead, suggests he's not exactly an expert when it comes to winning voters over to his side. He lost there by a lot, despite setting a lot. Now, none of this is to say that America's two-party political system is perfect. It's not, and should never be questioned. It should be. And that is exactly why there are places where they have done things a little bit differently. In fact, states like Alaska and Maine have adopted novel reforms like ranked choice voting, which experts say help empower minority parties and give voters more say in who they elect. And independent candidates like Bernie Sanders and Angus King have found ways to get elected by working with the major parties. But is Elon Musk actually interested in any of that? Does he want to empower voters or work with existing parties? Does he want a new party because his efforts to buy one of the two major parties hasn't worked out the way he thought it would? Maybe. Or maybe it's just a vanity project to get the world's most insecure billionaire some attention. Who knows? The reality is that Trump doesn't think natural disasters should be his problem at all. I mean, from the very first week of his new term, Trump has proposed getting rid of FEMA altogether, just eliminating it.
Now, do I think that Elon Musk will put together a cohesive slate of candidates in important congressional and Senate races? No, I don't think so. Do I think that Elon might fund a couple of people to just muck it up and make some noise? Yeah, I think Elon cares a lot more about the PR, much like Donald Trump does, than actually the substance. And that's great. It's only going to hurt Trump. Even a point or two could swing some of the most important races around the country. So I say to Elon, go for it. The enemy of my enemy is my Elon, I guess. And we're going to have to learn to accept that. I'm not going to like it, but I'm not going to get in his way from screwing Trump. And we're going to continue to talk about it on this show. And if you want to stay updated, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.